Hey friends, I today was the second day of summer break, and it felt pretty summer breaky. I am reflecting because I this morning my daughter and I did another practice session on her instrument, which is violin, and she has a recital tomorrow, and I had a rehearsal this evening. We had a rehearsal this evening. I am playing for everybody else. I'm playing piano, and it's really remarkable to me how I had a feeling this morning while I was sitting in practice. There was this moment that I'm well familiar with where I was hitting she was resisting practice. She just wasn't in the mood, wasn't having it. She was doing this thing which I've almost kind of like come to see as a kind of a test, which is to basically just stonewall, and no matter what I say, just be upset about it. I can say the nicest thing in the world. I can say that was beautiful, sweet pea, and she'll go, She'll just get angry. It doesn't matter. Or I can give a critique. But if I give a critique, if I offer any, if I say that, if I try to say make any kind of correction, that's like instant disqualified. Papa, get out, away with you, and it's unforgivable. And you know, it's interesting to me. I've gotten better at understanding that this is a process, and more importantly, it's a parenting process. It's not a music teaching process. What I'm there to do is be her parent, be her father, not be her music teacher. And that's sort of it's an interesting division of labor in my brain that I have to go through. Um, so, but today, I had this feel. When she went into this resistance mode, it's almost like it's designed to bring up a feeling in me, because it does it. I mean, like clockwork. It brings up this feeling of like frustration and agitation, and I start to think internally. My mind starts to go, starts to like rehearse these angry speeches that I would deliver to her. And these angry, and it's almost like I'm blasting her internally for her incompetence, for her just like laziness, for her self sabotage. It's like it doesn't really matter. It's like, but it does, because it's like there's kind of specific things that my mind lenses in on, and I start to just have these like I start to hear these monologues in my head where I'm like really getting after her. And I've done my best not to let that out almost ever. I think occasionally I have let some of it out. I know I have, and it's not great. But today I noticed it and I saw it and I was like, this angry monologue that I'm in my mind delivering to my daughter sounds a lot like my own self-talk. It sounds a lot like the things I say to myself that prevent me from thriving, that prevent me from being free, that prevent me from from being willing to be myself, that prevent me from taking risks and making mistakes fearlessly. It sounds an awful lot like the criticism I hear in my own mind when I listen, and when something, either I'm in a circumstance or something happens that triggers it. It sounds a lot like the way I criticize myself. And so today I thought, what if my only job right now is to, God forbid, not respond out of that feeling? And then secondarily, sit with that feeling. Sit with it. Feel it. It's right here in my heart. It's like it's right in this area. It's like it locks up my heart. And so I thought, what if my job is just to sit with this feeling and to feel this feeling and to let it go, to understand that what she's doing is asking me, really on a deep level, are you going to pass this karma on to me? That's how I can interpret her resistance. That's not what she's literally saying, but that's what the sum total of her communication is amounting to, this question: are you going to take that negative energy, that negative self-talk, and transfer it onto me? Or can you handle it yourself? Can you sit with it, not pass it on, and in the words that, I've heard I've heard several different spiritual teachers talk about this. They call it eating karma. So in other words, if this is a karma that, let's say, I inherited, I'm not saying that I didn't invent it out of thin air, maybe I did, but whatever the case may be, feels like karma, imprinted memory, at least some component of which I have probably inherited either from my family lineage or from any number of other relationships I've had and other circumstances. You can accrue karma in college. You can accrue karma anytime through any relationships. But let's say that somehow that has impinged upon me and created this impression in me. And, karma by definition, in some ways, is, well, I don't know how to say it. It nudges us towards compulsion. It gives us the inclination to exhibit compulsive behavior because it seems to justify that behavior. It's so for me to say out loud those things that I was rehearsing in my head, that anger, for me to say that out loud is compulsive. I would never do that if I were reflecting and consciously taking action. I would only do it out of a inability to handle the emotional impulse that's coming up because I'm somehow being triggered. And this is what I mean by my daughter knows how to ask the question, are you going to transfer this onto me? The way to ask that question is to activate, trigger that feeling, and see if I will in fact, compulsively direct that energy at her, or whether I can sit with it in my own heart. And so I just sat. I literally just sat there. And I even kind of closed my eyes, just sat still and waited. I was like, if the best I can do is just wait and see if this feeling unravels, maybe that's what I do. And it was like, the nice thing was we didn't have a time limit. We had all day. It was a kind of summer vacation. We're sitting around with time. So I was like, okay, it's going to sit here and let this time tick. The one rule I made was that she wasn't allowed to leave the area. She wasn't allowed to go play. We had to stay in the practice area. And I did my best to eat that karma. And as I did so, I felt myself relax. I felt my agenda around the practice session completely shift. I felt my acceptance of whatever she was doing and going to do just emerge. I was like, yes, whatever happens, I'm okay with it. And wouldn't you know it, but little by little, we started practicing. And she played her scales. I did invoke a persona. I have like a Russian taskmaster teacher persona that comes out. And she loved it. But the whole session became a game. And we were still able to get work done, but it became play. And I wonder sometimes if that's not the main thing with me, if it's not all about coming back to a spirit of play. Because as soon as I eat my own karma, I just want to play. There's nothing else to do. What else is there to do? Once you stop acting compulsive, once you diffuse the impulse to exhibit compulsive behavior, what's left except play? And we got there today. And it was great. And man, if that's not a lesson for life as a parent, but as a lot of other things too. I can't, that's like massive spiritual insight right there. If I can do that with every impulse that comes up like that, if I can remember that the universe or the individual sitting near me is asking the question, are you going to transfer that onto me? If that's how I hear my triggers, all of a sudden I've got a powerful toolkit, a powerful spiritual toolkit with which to navigate everything that life throws at me. So yeah, that's what happened today. I ate my own karma. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Have a great day. See you soon.